This is an overview of Fleming Middle School's Accelerated Reader program that is implemented school-wide. Reading is a foundational skill that needs practice. At Fleming, we ensure that every student has 30 minutes a day in homeroom to read. This chart is based on 20 minutes of reading. You can quickly see that the difference even 20 minutes of reading a day makes for a student. Student B, who reads 5 minutes per day, typically reads 282,000 words per year and will score in the 50th percentile on standardized test. Student A, who reads 20 minutes per day, will read 1.8 million words per year. Students like this score in the 90th percentile on the SBAC. While this is important to our school, testing is not the only reason that AR is important. There are countless of reasons why people should read, but here are just 9. Being able to escape into another world through reading is a gift that every human should experience. People who love to read are lucky because they're feeding their brains, opening doors to their future, and becoming stronger and more empathetic people while doing something that they enjoy. Our goal as educators should be to help our students embrace this magic. The goal of our Accelerated Reader program is not to punish our students for not reading, but to inspire our students to become lifelong readers so that they will succeed in education and their careers and to become more productive and responsible citizens in the future. So what is Accelerated Reader? Fleming designates 30 minutes in homeroom every day for independent reading, and we use the Accelerated Reader program, AR, to hold students accountable for their reading and to gather data to help them grow. Accelerated Reader is a software tool that assesses a student's reading level, suggests titles of books at that level, and then assesses whether a student has completed reading the book by asking a series of comprehension questions. To find students' reading levels, all students take the STAR assessment and ELA classes at the end of every school year, or when they first check into Fleming. This test provides powerful data about our students' current reading ability. We use the GE, grade equivalent, to calculate a student's ZPD, the zone of proximal development. This is the level of books that the student should read so that he or she will grow as a reader. If books are too low, they won't improve. If the books are too difficult, they may be frustrated and lose interest. After students take the STAR test, we get a report. This report gives students, parents, and teachers important data. This is a sample of a student's STAR reading test report. The GE, grade equivalent, clearly states that this student's performance is comparable to that of an average 5th grader after the 5th month of the school year. The IRL, instructional reading level, states that this student would best be served by instructional materials prepared at the 4th grade level. The domain scores here break down the mastery of Common Core skills from 0 to 100% mastery. This is important information for all teachers to understand, so help our students try to reach grade level proficiency. ELA teachers assign a point goal to each student. This chart shows goals based upon students reading for 30 minutes daily for 17 weeks. As you can see, a 6th grade student would be expected to reach 35 points. A 7th grade student is expected to reach 41 points, and an 8th grade student is expected to reach 47 points by the end of the semester. You can view students' goals in their reading logs and by accessing a report online. Even though students are given the time to read during homeroom, AR, also known as Power Reading, is included as 10% of students' grades in English Language Arts. ELA teachers input students' progress toward their 20-week final goal every 5 weeks. At the 5-week, they should have 25% of their goal. At the 10-week, 50%, at the 15-week, 75%, so that they will reach 100% by the end of the semester. 10% of a grade may not seem like it would affect students' grades significantly, but it does. We have seen students' grades drop an entire grade due to low AR scores. These are real screenshots of my gradebook from AR for 3 years. Notice that there are 2 tall bars at the extreme ends and very little in between. This means that the majority of students are either reading a lot or not reading at all. All of these students spent the same 30 minutes a day in homeroom, but you can see that most of the students, sadly, wasted their time. As a homeroom teacher, there are many steps you can take to help students succeed in reading. First of all, students should get into the habit of taking out their agenda books at the start of homeroom. English teachers will give students their point goals to complete at the top of the page. They will be written at the top of the first page of the reading log. Students should log the books that they're reading and the pages read every day. They do not need to write the title every day, just pages read. It is helpful if homeroom teachers sign at least once a week to verify that students are reading and to keep students accountable for keeping their log. If they do additional reading outside of homeroom, there is another column for those pages here. Please be sure students are reading books within their ZPD, Zone of Proximal Development, and that they are truly reading the books that they are taking tests for. When students finish their books, they will need to take an AR test. At this point, you should check and sign the reading log to make sure that they're taking the proper test. Also, when you enter the password for a student, be sure the password is kept a secret, and check the students' names. Unfortunately, there have been many students who have cheated by taking tests on movies for books they have not read. They also try to take tests for other people. So it's important to be sure to check the name after you enter the password. If students are testing in the library, you must be sure that their logs are filled out completely and be sure to sign to show that they're ready to test. For students to reach their goals, they need to read and take tests. Each book is worth points based on the length and complexity of the book. Points earned are based on the percent of questions that they answer correctly. Creating a chart for your class is an important part of keeping students motivated. This is an example of one way to keep a chart. This chart was easy to maintain because you just need a chart poster, ask Mrs. Saki where to get one if needed, and markers. I like to change the color every 5 weeks and highlight the columns that students should reach by every grading period. This way we can see when students have been reading. For instance, you can see that Felicia Fleming only started testing during the last quarter, the lavender of the year. Here she is. Jasmine read steadily all year and passed her goal. Simba, Ariel, and Dumbo didn't take any tests all year. Some teachers like to use stickers, some teachers color the charts in on their own, and others hand a marker over to students after they test. To check on the progress of your class, the easiest way is to go to the Fleming website, and on the side menu there will be a selection for Accelerated Reader. Once you're at the AR website, these are the instructions to print your report. This is what the reading report looks like. The most important information for you is in the points section here. You can see students' goals, how many points they've earned so far, and this does the math for you, and how much percent of their goal they have reached. This column is exactly what the teachers input in ELA as 10% of their grade. Guidelines for homeroom grading. The homeroom grade is divided into several areas, including sustained silent reading, return of tear-offs, attendance, etc. Suggested grading for work habits. Work habits grades reflect the student's participation in sustained silent reading, so AR, and the student's following of district work habits guidelines. Tardiness and or poor effort in class will lower the work habits grades. Many teachers use this system. Students receive 1 point for each day of satisfactory participation, 5 points possible per week, 25 points possible per grading period. The grading scale for each 5-week grading period would be as follows: E, 22 to 25 points, S, 15 to 21 points, a U, 0 to 14 points. Suggested grading for cooperation. Cooperation grades are based on the student's ability to consistently follow district cooperation guidelines. Students' failure to cooperate in class and/or poor behavior will lower their cooperation grade. If you do not use the suggested grading system, please make sure your cooperation grading is quantifiable. So again, you can use the same point system that was discussed for work habits, where the students receive 1 point a day. If using the above system for points, the easiest way is to start with 25 points at the beginning of the grading period and just subtract 1 point for each day that a student does not comply with the above guidelines. Building a classroom library. Since access to a wide range of engaging books is the key to reading success, it is helpful to have your own classroom library. In addition to any books that you have from Fleming, many teachers find ways to add to their classroom libraries. Stores with discounted used books. Book Off stores, they resell books from $1, and there are many locations. Goodwill stores and Friends of the Library sales at local libraries often have amazing bargains. Online stores with discounted used books. Thriftbooks.com, bookoutlet.com, and halfpricebooks, hpb.com, all have fantastic deals. First Book Marketplace, fbmarketplace.org, is an amazing website. Since we're a Title I school, we have access to extremely discounted books on the First Book website. For instance, I often buy Rick Riordan's books for 95 cents. They also have sets of free novels that you only have to pay shipping to receive. Again, because we are a Title I school, we have access to an amazing free resource. Open eBooks is a library containing thousands of popular and award-winning titles that are free for children from in-need communities. These ebooks can be read without checkouts or holds. The goal of Open eBooks is to encourage a love of reading and serve as a gateway to children reading even more often, whether in school, at libraries, or through other ebook reading apps. To use Open eBooks, you need to make an account with First Book. So first you need to make an account, and then to request your codes, you visit the First Book Marketplace and request as many free codes as you need for the number of children that you serve. So some people, you may want to get one code for every class iPad that you have. You can get extras to give to individual students who may want to read on their own devices at home. This is what the Open eBooks app looks like. So it has books arranged in categories by genre, so new arrivals, staff picks, action adventure. It has science fiction, fiction, mystery. It has it by categories, or they can search by title. You can also search by author, so I put in Patterson to see what James Patterson books are on Open eBooks, and I was pleasantly surprised. The library seems to be growing rapidly. A lot of the books I've seen students reading for AR are free on Open eBooks. When you have a classroom library, it's important to have a checkout system to keep track of who is checking out your books. I've seen 3 main ways teachers have done this, and that's with index cards, with clipboards, or using a website. The index card system seems to be the easiest way, and there are several ways you can do this. The most simple, I think, is just to have one index card with the student's name, and it's helpful to have their grade equivalent and their ZPD on the card so that you can make sure when they check out books that they're checking out appropriate books. And they or you can write the date that they check it out, the title of the book, and when they return it, you can cross it out or you can put the date that they return it. These I used to store in a mini photo album, and it was very simple. Some teachers keep a clipboard or just a running list so the students will write their names, the title of the book they're checking out, the date they check it out, and the date that they return it. For bigger libraries, and if you are tech savvy, there's a website called Classroom Book Source, and you can scan your library into this website, and then from your phone or iPad or computer, you can check out, you put in the student's name, you start to type the first words of the title, and you select it. You could also scan the book and check it out to the students. Final reminder that Power Reading's main purpose is to create lifelong readers. If we only punish students for not reaching their goals, and if students are only checking out books to try to make points, then that's not going to happen. So we should encourage students to explore different genres to find what they're interested in. And if they cannot find an interesting book, they can ask any teacher and visit our library, go to a public library, especially ask their English teachers. And there is a website called whatshouldireadnext.com that gives you suggestions on books that may interest you based on a book that you've read in the past that you liked. It's not always perfect, but this is what it looks like. So what should I read next? You put in the title of a book. So this one I put in Hunger Games. And then it gives you a list of books that you may like if you enjoyed the Hunger Games. Students should be reminded that they should not have to suffer through a book that they don't like. They should try to find just right books. So to do that, they should look at the covers, read the titles, read the blurb on the back, browse through the book, read the first page, and there's a 5-finger rule that if on any one page of reading, if there are too many words that they don't understand, then it's too difficult. And if there are no words that they don't understand, the book is probably too easy. Thank you for supporting Fleming's Power Reading Accelerated Reader Program. The benefits students will reap from this program being implemented with fidelity will not only help them to succeed in every class in middle school, but will benefit them for the rest of their lives.